here tonight, and this is just awesome. This is, I'm very pleased that, this is the first time we've really done the state of the city outside of a normal council meeting. And it's always been something that hasn't necessarily been too well attended. And so tonight, what we hope you take from this is an opportunity not only to see what's been taking place over the past year, but you'll get a good glimpse of what's going to be going on in the coming months during 2018. But I do want to acknowledge we have some impressive guests here tonight, and I do want to acknowledge several of them, but I'm going to start basically with the purpose of the State of the City is for the city manager to report on the affairs of the city and where we're at. And so I have to report that to my city council. That's part of my requirement. So as city manager, I'd love to introduce my city council, which is basically my board of directors. And our mayor in the first row, Mayor J.R. Roush. Our vice mayor, Nevin Taylor. I see Deb Grote in the audience, Hank Burby, Alan Seymour, Tracy Richardson, and we're missing Mark Reams, but I want to thank you for all you do to set the course, help us set the course. City staff, I missed Chris Jones, our clerk. Chris, thank you. City staff here tonight, I'm going to wait. We do have a couple of our panelists that are city staff, but some of our executive staff is in the audience. I see Brian DeStanco, our HR director. Brian, raise your hand. Thank you. Aaron Story, our IT director. Tim Oslanier, our law director. Mike and Draco, I see our director of public service, and Jeremy Hoyt, our city engineer. Am I missing anybody? You guys will get here in just a second, okay? And if you're city staff here tonight, which I see other city staff here, I want to truly thank you for all you do in your day-to-day duties. It's an impressive group, so thank you. Tonight you're going to hear a lot about collaboration. And, the Union County Commissioners, we work unbelievably close with our commissioners, and I'd like to introduce them. Steve Stolte's here tonight. Hi, Steve. I know Gary Lee's somewhere around. And Gary, I'm going to get you out of here. You got to go to a basketball game, okay? Charles Hall couldn't make it, but we have other county representation. We got the county administrator here tonight, you guys, Tim Hansley. So, Tim, welcome. And we got the assistant county administrator here tonight as well. Tish Rail is here tonight, so welcome, Tish. We've got the county engineer, Jeff Stouch, is in the audience. I saw Jeff come in. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming. Jason Orsina, our county health commissioner, is here. Jason, there he is. Thanks, Jason, for coming. I know we've got Jason Stanford here from our Union County Marysville Economic Development. Thanks, Jason. Eric Phillips was supposed to be part of the program tonight, but Eric's got the flu. And when Eric dodges out of something like this, he's sick. So, and I spoke to him earlier today, and he's not good. So I did miss our Deputy Police Chief, Tony Brooks. Tony, raise your hand. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I'm going to miss people tonight, but just bear with me. We're really pleased to be able to do our first State of the City Roadshow in this school. And so we need to thank our Marysville School Board members. Is Brian Luke here? I didn't see him, but Brian Luke, Dick Smith, I saw Dick. Dick's here. Nice to see you, Dick. Thank you. Amy Powers and Nan Savage. Nan, I saw you. Thank you for what you guys do. I'm holding off on Sue and Diane because they're part of the program, so just FYI. Kathy McGinnis. Kathy's the principal here at the school. Thank you, Kathy. I got to tell the story. I always got to tell the story. Kathy's first job teaching, she was hired by my father, who was a school administration in the Marion school system, and that was her first teaching job. So he did a good job, I think, selecting someone. It's really kind of neat tonight to see some of the others here. I really appreciate everybody being here, but I know Eileen Luby from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission's here. Eileen, there she is in the back. Welcome. Let's see, Nisa Knowles is here, Marysville Public Library. We've got, I thought Anna Quello might be here with Scott's, but I didn't see her. Ben Volras here, DP&L. Ben's solid. I appreciate all the meetings you attend, Ben, and he's very engaged, so really appreciate it. And we've got Dr. Smith with High Point as well here tonight. Dr. Smith, thank you. Thank you for being here. So, we've got a lot of special guests, and a lot of special guests I probably didn't name, so if I missed somebody, I apologize. I'm also going to recognize one other person that really set this whole thing up tonight, and it's my senior executive assistant, Anna Krutauskas. And Anna's, thank you, Anna. I had the weather as a part of your responsibilities so tonight, so I was a little concerned with that, but thank you for all you do, Anna. I really appreciate it. And I do know I've also got Mike Shadak here. Mike's here. He's with the City of Columbus. He's in the area of Department of Development with the City of Columbus, works out of the mayor's office. So it gives you any idea what's happening in Marysville when the City of Columbus comes here. You know you're making it, so it's good stuff. So without any further ado, we're going to begin the night with a video. We're going to show you kind of a 15-minute video, and then we're going to come back and bring our panel up on stage and let our MC kind of do his thing tonight. So with that, enjoy the video. Thank you.
2017 was a great year for the city of Marysville. A lot of things happened on many fronts, including the 33 Innovation Park, which I cannot say enough of what a game changer it is for the city and for its future.
2017 was an exciting and a busy year for the Marysville Division of Police. During 2017, we achieved full certification with the Ohio Collaboration. That was the first time we have done that. But if you really need something and you need assistance now, police department's in operation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So council has been very supportive of pavement rating over the past few years. That's something that we've put a lot of effort into, and we feel like we're making great strides in that.
For the 2018 budget, it's fully balanced, and there's appropriations of $58.7 million. In terms of that allocation, $14 million is actually going into infrastructure spending for the capital improvement plan.
I'm pleased to report that the state of the city has never been stronger. Part of the reason the city has strengthened over the past year is the establishment of 9 strategic priorities that the administration and city council worked on back in 2016. Those 9 strategic priorities have been a major focus of all of our executive staff and our employees of the city of Marysville. The first being public finance. Under the leadership of Justin Navi, our public finances are extremely strong, and that includes our enterprise fund management. The enterprise funds of the city of Marysville are strong as well, and those include our water, sewer, stormwater, and sanitation funds among some of those enterprise funds.
For the 2017 fiscal year, the city ended up in an incredibly strong position. The ending cash balance in the general fund was $6.4 million, which was in excess of the $5.5 million that we target annually for that fund itself. In terms of revenue, the city received $18.8 million in income tax receipts, which is the highest ever recorded. On top of that, for the capital plan itself, we allocated $4.7 million, of which we were able to forego borrowing $2.7 million, which incredibly helps out the taxpayers in terms of debt service. With regards to the enterprise funds for the city, these funds are fully self-supported, and they're fully imbalanced. And when considering the cash flows for these funds, we have no long-term expectations to actually have to increase rates, which is an incredible proposition for the ratepayers within the city limits. In terms of transparency, another initiative that the city participated in is the Ohio Checkbook Program, which allows taxpayers to actually see how the city spends taxpayer dollars on an annual basis. We began that for the 2016 fiscal year, and we'll continue doing that on an annual basis going forward. Last item that's a great significance for the city is we received 3 awards for financial and budget reporting. 1 award for a clean audit from the Auditor of State, another award from the GFOA for financial reporting, and a 3rd award also from the GFOA for budget presentation. The big item for 2018 itself is infrastructure itself, either it be paving, roadway extensions between State Route 31 and State Route 4, or the expansion of the State Route 31 roadway itself to ease congestion. The last major infrastructure initiative is the Smart Mobility and Connected Marysville projects, which should be completed by the end of 2018 itself.
Economic development is another area that we've excelled in over the past year and look to excel in moving into 2018. Eric Phillips, our Economic Development Director, has done a fantastic job in the area of economic development, and we look forward to some major projects coming to Marysville in 2018.
When I think back, in 2015, we completed our economic development strategy, and it made no mention of a smart corridor, of smart technology when it comes to transportation. One of the major accomplishments, of course, is Northwest 33 Innovation Corridor, the project that we've been working on for the last year and a half. And so it's exciting to see something to go 0 to 60 in about a year and a half. And now, with the corridor and the investments that are being made in 17, the fiber was laid between I-270 and the Transportation Research Center. Another fiber, more fiber, was laid between Scottslawn and 161. And so we have a ton of fiber now being laid. Next year, going forward, we will see the remainder of the fiber being constructed, and so we'll have a full redundant loop of fiber along the 33 corridor. The park, when completed, it's going to be overall a $10 million investment, but it's going to open up 200 acres to industrial, advanced manufacturing, R&D, and also focus on the smart mobility realm to attract those companies that are interested in the corridor. The Northwest 33 Innovation Council of Governments that was recently created has really proven to be a great vehicle to bring partners together. It was put together with the City of Dublin, City of Marysville, Union County, and the Marysville Union County Port Authority. That group has actually only been existing less than a year, yet is now becoming a leader not only in the region but also in Ohio in this smart mobility corridor. So the 33 corridor is exciting, and what it means to us as residents, at some point all our vehicles will be connected into an environment where you will have queue warning systems or warning systems in your car that will tell you when a stop sign's in front of you, that will tell you when a traffic signal is in front of you, that will actually tell the dispatchers or tell the transportation department or the service department that roads are slick. Today, we have to wait on a police officer or a sheriff deputy to report that the roads are icy. In the future, cars will collect data. That data will be shared with the service department or with the transportation department, and therefore they would send out a snowplow. And so a lot of this technology is going to move quickly, but it's going to allow opportunities for us as drivers, as citizens of this community. What's even more exciting about this is the fact that Marysville, once we have all 27 traffic signals installed with DSRCs and smarter signals, we will be the first rural community in the world to be fully connected. We are also blessed to have 22 Japanese companies in Union County. This year we took a mission, and when I say we, it was Mayor Roush, City Manager Emery, and Commissioner Charles Hall, who all traveled to Japan on three items that we wanted to perform. One, we visited 7 of our companies that are located, almost a third of our companies in the county were visited. We attended the Midwest U.S.-Japan Conference, and then we also visited our friendship city, Yorimachi, in Japan, and had a great visit with Mayor Hanawa and his staff, and those close ties are very important. We've also, Honda has also made investments in its painting facility. Although not in the city of Marysville, it's close by, and Honda and Marysville are synonymous. The $200 million investment they've made in their painting facility is another commitment from Honda into their facilities here at the Marysville Auto Plant, and the future looks bright from that perspective. We've also had other major companies that have been successful over the year, whether it's Scotts or Nestle or Parker or Continental. They've all been great companies to call Marysville home. We look forward to the success of our businesses going forward. We've also seen a lot of growth and development and improvement in Uptown Marysville. Uptown Marysville today is better than it's been in many, many years. We've seen 2 new restaurants recently open up or being proposed or to open up the Uptown area, and it's a very vibrant area going forward. The pavilion that City has done, as well as the other investments made by the City and the County, have also led to some rebirth in Uptown Marysville. We also are excited about the opportunities for Team Marysville and the citizen and business group that's working closely with the city. The other thing that I think in Marysville and in the county as a whole, there's one area that I think we excel in, and that's our educational system. We have one of the best K-12 educational systems countywide in the state of Ohio. And we should always be proud to recognize that and to accept that and also to tell everyone about that. But we do give thanks to our great leaders in the educational system that have made a difference because it's critical to our future. Workforce development is something that is a critical issue to Marysville and Union County. We have to find the workers of tomorrow. And that is through STEM education. That's through advanced manufacturing facilities at Tolles and Tri-Rivers, as well as at the STEM school here in Marysville. We need to continue to look for ways to partner with our school district going forward.
Parks and Recreation is another one of our strategic priorities, and we were able to complete a Parks and Recreation Master Plan in 2017, which really lays the course for where we're going to proceed with Parks and Recreation planning into the future.
In 2004, the city purchased a 56-acre parcel called the MacGyver Woods Tract. This property has a conservation easement attached to it. Until recently, this property has been inaccessible to the public. The property was previously owned by Dr. MacGyver, who, before his passing, granted a conservation easement over the property. His wishes were that it would stay undeveloped and preserved. This summer, we were able to work with the entity that holds the conservation easement on the property. We worked with them to create a natural stone path through the property, which provides access to the public.
Public infrastructure. Our street program, our current street program, is effective as I've ever seen in a community. Under the leadership of Mike Andraco, our Public Service Director, our street program is again going to be receiving $1.5 million to improve our streets, not only in 2017, but in 2018 as well.
The way we track pavement condition is we rate the streets annually. We drive every street every year. It's about 100 miles of pavement that we drive. They're rated from a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being best. We're most focused on the streets that rate 60 or lower. Those are poor streets. So we're trying to reduce the amount of poor streets that we have in the city. In 2014, we had 15% of our streets were in poor condition. Our most recent rating a few weeks ago, we reduced that to 9%.
Quality customer service. That is another area that is going to be a prime focus because we always want to make sure we're meeting the needs of the citizens of Marysville. Community appearance. Community appearance is something that is very important to us. Working on the entry features, on park entry areas and other areas that are important to the city as far as the aesthetics is something that we're going to be continuing to work on in the next year. Communication and branding. You'll see that as we continue to improve our signage entry signage into the city as well as our park signage, you'll see that our branding of our Marysville logo will continue to be put out there for the public to recognize when you're coming into the corporation limits of Marysville. And you've seen an example of that on the Scotts Lawn Road Bridge that was completed in 2017. And last but not least is community safety. You know, our police and fire departments do an exceptional job of protecting our citizens and responding in times of need, and we'll continue to enhance those areas to make sure that the citizens are safe and our community is safe.
In 2017, we again had a record number of fire and EMS runs. This is up 25% over the last 5 years. We keep seeing more and more EMS runs, and that's what we anticipated.
2017 was an exciting and a busy year for the Marysville Division of Police. The Patrol Bureau handled 18,473 calls for service during 2017. A call for service could be a disabled vehicle, it could be a sick person, it could be a person that was broke down along the highway, any number of things. Out of those 18,000 calls for service, we had 2,396 incident reports, and out of those incident reports, that was a 5% increase over the same time period in 2016. Our Investigations Bureau consists of a sergeant and 4 detectives. In 2017, these 5 officers handled 327 criminal investigations. And the 327 case investigations we had in 2017 in the investigation section was a 7% increase over 2016. One thing to note is that of these 327 investigations, our detectives had a clearance rate of 92%, which is an excellent clearance rate.
This year, we were able to initiate a fire and police dive team. This dive team is going to be essentially needed for us for the future for the Upground Reservoir, now that we have recreational use there.
And the reason for having police officers on this team is that they can also be used for the recovery of evidence in the event of a crime.
It's also going to be responsive to anywhere in Union County. We're really fortunate to be able to partner with the police department so that we were able to have a total of 10 divers between firefighters and police officers to be able to get the training and get the equipment needed to be operational.
A program that we're going to have technology-wise in 2018 are police body cameras. You know, there's been a lot of talk about agencies, whether it's a good thing or not a good thing. We think that it will benefit our agency as well as the citizens to have an accurate accounting of what happens.
We were able to see over 4,500 children speaking about fire safety this year. This included a fire and police academy that we held at Maven Elementary in June of this year. It was a great experience for all involved, and we were able to reach about 40 kids.
2017 was the first full year that we had a Community Services Bureau. And the idea behind it is community-oriented policing. And we want that to be a division-wide program, but we're starting out with one bureau. In this bureau, we have 3 school resource officers and a sergeant that oversees that. In 2017, we were able to add an additional school resource officer due to collaboration between us and the Marysville Exempted Village School District.
We're also working in 2018 with an additional consultant to work on our staffing, personnel, organizational structure, and stations. What we want to do is prepare ourselves for the future. The growth of the community is our biggest challenge. With that growth, we want to be prepared to address those issues and be responsive to the emergency needs of the community. We hope that this consultant will help us work through those challenges and have us prepared for the next 10 years.
So enhancing the quality of life for our citizens and the continued enhancement of that quality of life is going to be a major focus in 2018, and I look forward to serving as your city manager. Okay, now we get into some of the fun stuff. We're going to talk a little bit to a panel here coming up, but I missed a couple people here that I wanted to recognize. I missed our event and recreation coordinator, Amanda Morris, who's here with us tonight. Amanda's back in the back. And before Chris Schmink walks out, Chris Schmink to me is Mayor Schmink, because when I first came to Marysville, she was the first person I met. So. You were a good pick. Okay, and I'm going to introduce our panel. I also forgot Jonathan Langhouse, Assistant Superintendent for the Marysville Schools. Great to see you here. Thank you. Let's get into our panel now, and I'm going to introduce them individually. You met them briefly in the video, but our finance director is Justin Navi. So Justin, if you could come forward and join us up front. We're going to really put these people on the spot tonight, so let's see what we can do. Our police chief, Floyd Golden, I'd like to have him join us. I'd like for our fire chief, Jay Riley, to join us. Our mayor, J.R. Roush, I'd like Mayor Roush to join us, as well as our president of our school board, Sue Devine, and our school superintendent, Diane Mankins. And but really, what's really cool about tonight is I get to wrap it up for most of what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to introduce our MC for the night. He's the dealer principal of Honda Marysville, Honda Marysville Motorsports, Toyota Direct, Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and in Delaware, as well as on Georgesville Road and in Delaware, as well as the owner of Leon's Garage in Marysville. He is also the founder of Impact 60, a volunteer program that inspires the dealership's own associates to give an hour of their week back to the communities in which they live. And Bruce believes that all business owners and operators should be actively involved with youth and overall human growth development in their local communities. And I will say this, I don't think I've been around a person that has ever been as passionate as I see, the passion that I see from Bruce Daniels on what's going on in Marysville and what we're going to be doing moving forward. So without any further ado, our MC, Bruce Daniels.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Terry. Okay, can I start grilling them now? Yeah. Okay, just want to check. Just real quick before we start the interviews with our panel, I just want to say thanks to Terry and thanks to, I think I know pretty much everybody in the room for allowing me this opportunity to do this and to hang out, because I truly am, I do get a little wound up, so I'll try to keep that under control. In fact, I got criticized, just so you know, on an email this morning for, say, what, you know, and I had no idea who this person is. He might be sitting in here, I don't know. But he said, you know, you really need to get those people to adjust the camera on your Honda commercials because your arms are going all over the place, and we think you just look like you have a nervous condition. So I emailed him back. I said, I think I'm just kind of excited, to be quite frank with you. He emails me back, no, I really think you need to get that fixed. So probably at the end of the night, you might want to shoot me an email, too, of some things that you feel I need to get adjusted. So anyway, but thank you. I appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get going, because we got some exciting stuff tonight. And we'll start with Justin Navi. I want to make sure I pronounce that right, Justin. The Justin part's really easy. So anyway, first question. If you were to describe the city's current financial state in terms of 3 distinctive characteristics, what would they be?
Thanks for the question. When I evaluate what's going on financially, I would say the city's finances are robust, they're transparent, and they're forward-thinking. In terms of transparency, we actually have a full section of the city's website just on transparency in government. And it has direct links to the state treasurer's website where we publish all our expenditure data. And in terms of forward thinking, council, has a direction where we're working to have $4 million in our capital reserve fund by 2020. And we're on track to have $2 million in there already by the end of the current year.
That's great. So strong and stable and reserves. That's always a good thing. So what are the core fiscal priorities for the city, would you say, for 2018 and beyond?
Thanks. The first item would definitely be debt reduction. Council approves the budget, and they've allocated $5.9 million in principal reduction for the current fiscal year, which is excellent, especially for the taxpayers themselves. The second item that's especially important is fiscal sustainability. Every year we get approval by City Council on a 5-year general fund financial forecast that's fully balanced, and it has, allocations for infrastructure as well. A big item that we're working on in the current year is seeking credit enhancement by Moody's. We're in a raising rate environment, so if we can get to a AAA2, I think that's going to be great for our interest payments. Last item is obviously you have to have strong internal controls when handling public dollars. And we received an award again from the state auditor's office for a clean audit for the most recent fiscal year. So we're really making great strides in managing the public resources.
Thank you. So just in your part-time, if we happen to open up another car dealership, can we get you to come over and run the finances for us? Okay, good. That wasn't in there, right, Terry? Don't go there. Okay. Okay, just a little bit. All right, Terry, you're up. You're substituting for Eric Phillips. But I changed all the questions, just so you know, so you don't even have to look at that. Just kidding. Okay, Terry, how would you describe the state of the economy in Marysville?
Well, we have the fastest growing wage growth in the Columbus region. So I would consider it to be very strong. And of course, in the video tonight, you heard about the things that are going on with the 33 Smart Corridor and with our Innovation Park. And let me say that real quick, and Eric spoke to it in the video. But it's not always common for a city council to make a commitment that this city council made on that Innovation Park. But it's going to pay dividends big time, and it's already starting. So, it really, the economy really looks bright for us. And additionally, I think, and Eric touched on it a little bit there, historic Uptown Marysville is also doing better than it has in many years.
Speaking of Uptown, I'm kind of passionate about that myself. Is a local business owner, and I'm certain that we've got many in the room in the Uptown. What are you seeing the plans for the future as we move on? We certainly have our challenges, but
I'll tell you, the Uptown is really starting to see a resurgence. And I got to look at and thank you for a lot of the investment that you've made into our Uptown, as well as a project like Richwood Bank just recently completed, which was an enormous investment in our Uptown. But is Chad Flowers still here? Is Chad still? Did he leave? He's our city planner, and Chad's done a fabulous job in the area of going through an Uptown revitalization plan, as well as currently working, as you saw tonight, the overall comprehensive plan for the city. I think our Uptown has all kinds of just awesome potential. You know that. Yeah. I don't have to tell you anything. And I think, I just want people to be patient. Sometimes these things don't happen overnight. But you're going to continue to see some things happen in our Uptown that ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to make it a cool place for these kids right here to all come back to Marysville, and they'll want to come back to Marysville because that's what it'll be.
Thank you. I would like to coattail just for a second on that, because I would like to thank the city council and yourself and others in the room for the continued commitment. It's not easy to stay committed to the Uptown. I've certainly had my adversities this year. But, that's the way business and life is, right? So as you're going through the journey to make something better and something robust, you're going to have some wins and you're going to have some losses. But by the way, the Hinckley's building's not going anywhere. We're working on some neat stuff. It'll be back. We're just retooling right now. But the thing is, I think it's the thing that I like about it is the commitment. And it has changed dramatically, in my opinion, since 2005, when I was privileged to be able to become a part of this community. So thank you. I'm not allowed to get off track too much, but thank you. Okay, don't we have something else I can grill you with? I guess there's nothing. There's nothing else. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on here to Safety Services and Floyd Golden, our police chief. First question, Floyd, is the problem of heroin use and opioid abuse are in the media on a daily basis. From the law enforcement perspective, how has this issue affected Marysville and Union County in 2017?
Well, just to let you know, about 6 years ago, we formed a multi-agency drug enforcement task force in collaboration with the Union County Sheriff's Office and Union County Prosecutor David Phillips. So I'm going to speak from the perspective of the task force as what we've experienced over the last year. On the perspective of the task force, it's our opinion that the use of heroin has remained steady over 2017 compared to 2016, with possibly a slight decrease. And part of that reason is that there's been an increase in the use of cocaine, there's been an increase in use in methamphetamines, and also the fear of fentanyl, that we may not use heroin because there may be fentanyl included in it. So the people who abuse the drugs may want to use heroin, but some of them could be on a medically assisted treatment called Vivitrol, which prevents you from getting a high if you use heroin or an opioid. So they can still get a high using a different type of drug, but they just don't want to die from it. As far as prescription drugs, it's really a complicated issue enforcing that because you can buy them legally and then they can be diverted or abused. And sometimes the abuse goes on unnoticed unless someone actually crosses over law enforcement or gets in some type of a problem, an actual overdose. Occasionally, our officers in the task force are asked by agencies from other counties, what is it that makes Union County different? And what they're talking about is that some of our surrounding counties have a lot higher incidence of drug overdoses and the usage of drugs. And we think that a lot of this is because they have different socioeconomic issues in their areas. Another thing is that we have a very strong collaboration between all the law enforcement agencies in Union County. We have a strong collaboration with the treatment facilities in Union County and a strong collaboration with the school systems. So we get a chance to get in the schools and talk about drugs and drug abuse. Also, we have very few major drug dealers that come from Franklin County or from Marion County because they know that if they are involved in Union County and they get caught, there's very strong prosecution from the prosecutor's office. And in 2017, the Drug Enforcement Task Force, we refer to it as MAID, there was 12 cases referred to the task force. And of those 12 cases that were referred, there was 8 confirmed deaths, and 7 of those involved fentanyl. They involved fentanyl and heroin, and fentanyl and methamphetamines, and fentanyl and prescription drugs. And there's 1 that's still pending toxicology. When a person overdoses on an opioid, there's a drug called naloxone or Narcan. All the police officers and police agencies in Union County carry that in their cruisers. Typically we carry 1 dose. Oftentimes a person who's on an overdose requires several doses. But one of the lucky things about, and fortunate things about being in Union County, we have excellent EMS services. So if we can give a person 1 dose of Narcan, then perhaps that can extend their life until the medics get there and take over from that point. In 2017, both the Marysville Police Department and Union County Sheriff's Office used 4 doses of the Narcan. So we continue to partner with the Health Department and the Union County Sheriff's Office and Union County Drug-Free Coalition and the Fire Department to continue this battle against drug abuse. And one of the other things is that we continue to provide drug education in the schools. And one of the things I would ask people is to talk to your children from a very young age, clear up until they're no longer with you, to advise them about the drugs and the dangers of it, and let them know that they can really eliminate a lot of their life if they get hooked on drugs, and especially heroin. It's got it's almost a lifelong problem for you and your family. But anyway, keep talking, and if you come to city council meetings, about almost every city council meeting, you'll hear council member Tracy Richardson say, someplace in a meeting, just keep talking, and that's a great thing.
It's good advice. Thank you. I personally would like to commend you for your efforts, and just about everybody in this room. Most of you I know in this area. I'll just clarify my next comment here. I brought just a couple quick numbers, but we've got a long way to go, and we're getting ready to turn up the heat and the volume, or the intensity in our efforts. So we got a big job ahead of us. But I thought you guys might. I have found this interesting because your comments about being steady or flat and a slight decrease in the usage is a positive, very positive step in the right direction. I was looking at some numbers. As you guys know, I'm kind of passionate about that stuff. I look at numbers all the time. But the mid-year review with the heroin and the overdoses and the deaths in the state of Ohio, as you guys know, there's 11 million people in the state of Ohio or thereabouts. They do a mid-year review. And so your 2016 to 2017 mid-year review, the deaths went from 3,763 in 2016 to 5,232 in 17. So again, to me, it's like a devastating number. So the increase in deaths is up 39%. And I think it's important before we move on to realize that that's not the case in Union County. And we got a lot of work to do to get rid of it completely. The number's 100%, right? We'll get there. But all of your efforts, all of our efforts and our focus on it, I agree. We just keep cranking it, keep talking, put some more posters up and raise some more whatever. So thank you. Next question for you, Floyd. How has the Community Services Bureau contributed to the community engagement efforts of the Division of Police in 2017, and what are your plans for 2018?
Well, this is certainly a much happier topic to talk about instead of drugs. 2017 was the first full year of our Community Services Bureau, which consists of a sergeant and started out with sergeant and 2 school resource officers. Due to our collaboration with the Marysville Exempted Village School District and from approval from our city council, we were able to hire 1 additional officer for the schools. So now we have a full-time officer at the high school, Marysville High School, and in Bunsold, and another officer who teaches DARE and travels to the STEM school and some of the other schools. Now, in 2017, these officers had about a little over 50 events throughout the county and the city. And it's really unfortunate, I got to mention this part, I guess, but there's been, as everybody knows, many active shooter instances around the country, and we just had one a few days ago, very tragic. What we've been doing for the last couple of years in collaboration with the Sheriff's Office and the schools is teaching the ALICE program, which is an active shooter response type program that really gets people thinking about what they can do when they encounter a situation like this. And if you've listened to the news, there were several different parts of this that some of the people in the school actually did. They locked down some of the rooms, and they escaped from the building and did a lot of things like that, informed people. So another thing that we did during 2017 was developed a youth academy that was with 8th and 9th grade students, and the fire chief talked about that in his video that included fire division and the police division. And these were 19 participants, and one of the goals for 2018 is to continue and expand this program. The participants experienced law enforcement training and fire and EMS. Another program we had was Safety Town. It was incoming kindergarten students. This was the combined efforts of all of our safety partners in Union County, the Union County Health Department, Union County Sheriff's Office, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, Marysville Division of Fire, Marysville Schools, and Marysville football players. That was kind of the real icing on the cake this year. We thought maybe they would volunteer and help out to see how it worked out. And it was amazing, the relationship between these football players and the little kids. It was great. Matter of fact, they were only scheduled to come one day a week for the week, and some of them stayed all 4 days. It was great. We have a really strong presence in the schools, and when we first started the Community Services Bureau, basically it's focused on community policing. And in order to start, we decided that our focal point in the beginning would be youth. Develop relationships with youth at a very young age, continue all the way through school, have good relationships and good experiences, and hopefully they'll carry those into their adulthood. Some of the presence we've had in the school in the last year, we kind of copied this from the fire department because sometimes they have some really good ideas. They had a breakfast thing with some of the little kids at Naven, and so we picked Mill Valley, and it's called Breakfast Buddies, and there's 3 of the community services people have breakfast, I think, once a week with the little kids. It's been very popular. We've done stuff at Edgewood. We teach pedestrian presentations in the schools, Bunsold Career Day, Northwood Elementary Science Night, and just a lot of things with the school. And we do have some adult programs. We're trying to spread that a little bit as we get more personnel. We have the Women's Self-Defense class in 2017. We had 9 of those classes that involved Officer Amy Finley and patrol officers, so we were able to involve patrol officers in this community policing effort. 98 participants in 2017. We have 2 classes scheduled for March. They're full already. And I just saw today that we have one in April and one in August, and there's openings. So get on our website and sign up. And the last thing, I guess, the senior breakfast at the Union County Fair is one of the things we do, and I always kind of enjoy that, but I still need to improve my pancake catching skills because I'm not so good. So our goals for 2018, of course, is expand the Youth Academy. We also are implementing a college-level internship program. A lot of the criminal justice students are required to have an internship. We've done it 2 or 3 times over the last few years, but we want to continue as a regular practice and continue our community policing division-wide.
Chief Golden, you are busy, right? Busy.
Busy workers.
Very, very good. Great stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move to Safety Services and talk with Jay Riley, our fire chief. First question for you is, with the ongoing news reports involving the opioid crisis, what has been the impact on the Marysville Fire Department?
Yeah, I don't want to talk so much about the numbers of calls we're going on, but more the impact it's having on us. You know, we give the drug Narcan, as Floyd was talking about, for patients that are opioid overdoses. The overdoses we're going on now, 5 years ago, we would give 1 dose of Narcan, take them to the hospital, and they would get better. Now we're going out and giving 6 to 7 doses of Narcan, and they're dying. So people are taking more Narcan. They're taking carfentanil with the heroin. and they're taking more of it. And we're going out on this 20 to 30 people a year, and that's just unacceptable for us. The health department's done a great job in trying to get Narcan out there for family members of patients that are taking this, but it's so addictive that even if they have a family member that dies, they're still going back and using the heroin, and it's just a shame.
It's tough stuff. Okay, how about I can ask you a positive one, positive question. During 2017, Money Magazine named Marysville was named one of the 7 best places to retire. How does this demographic affect the emergency medical services within the fire division?
Yeah, we work really closely with Union County Senior Services, and they're a great partner with ours. When you talk about people that are age 60 and over, in 2010, that constituted 14% of the overall population in Union County. By 2020, it's anticipated to be 18%, and by 2030, a study from Miami University says that will constitute 24% of our overall population. So senior services need to grow. We need to have more senior housing. Right now, we have 5 nursing homes and 7 senior neighborhoods. For us, for every nursing home that we have, that constitutes about 100 EMS runs a year. For every senior community, that's about 60 runs per year EMS-wise. As our senior population grows, we're going to need to be responsive to that and be more proactive to help those seasoned seniors. And they're a real gem to our community, and we need to embrace them and provide the services that are necessary.
Thank you. We were talking out in a few of us in the hall earlier before the meeting started. And we're thinking, gosh, how great is it to be in Union County, Marysville, the city? Everything's booming and growing and booming and growing. And we were chatting, and it was like, well, guess what our biggest problem will be in 2 or 3 years? Keeping up with all
And
this.
it's not a problem. It's a challenge.
Gotta be careful what you wish for, right? It's good, though. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to J.R. Roush, our mayor. We wanted to talk a little bit about Uri. And in fact, I had a little closing comment later that is related to the Japanese culture. So I think our relationship with Uri and Japan is close to being priceless. And I don't say that just because it's a Honda thing. I'll explain that in a few, right? And certainly not closer than you thought, right? So anyway, first question here. Why was Uri selected as Marysville Friendship City?
The similarities between Uri and Marysville just made it a logical choice. Uri is about an hour and a half northwest of Tokyo. It's a small, rural, agricultural community, has about 35,000 people in it. It sits in the prefecture of Saitama, which is the sister state to the state of Ohio. So then you look at Marysville, we're a small, rural, agricultural community, 30 minutes northwest of Columbus, and that just kind of made sense. But, oh yeah, one thing, Honda. We've got the very first U.S. manufacturing location for Honda, and Uri now has the newest Honda manufacturing plant in the world. So those items really made it just a logical choice.
Thank you. And I guess to follow up on that, why do you think that the Japanese relationship has become so important to the city?
Well, when you think that 22 companies that have Japanese ownership are in Marysville and Union County, that accounts for about 25% of our workforce. That's huge, and in and of itself, that should be, sufficient enough to give them enough time and respect. And the Japanese are a culture that really is based on respect. And it takes a while to earn that respect. We've actually made 3 trips over the last 6 years to Japan, and each time we meet with people that are higher up on the corporate ladder. This last time, we had 7 company visits, and in 4 of those, we actually met with the CEO, where 6 years ago, we would have been meeting with, like, the head of HR. Nothing against the head of HR, Brian. But we've really noticed as we continue to put effort into the relationship that they reciprocate. And we just really think that with everything we've got going forward, it's a perfect relationship to have, and they are a large foreign investor, not just here in Union County and Marysville, but also the state of Ohio.
Well, appreciate that. I would like to just chime in a little bit and a couple, to comment on a couple of things that you mentioned. I think the cultural asset, maybe talk about that in a few, but the culture and the cultural assets that we pick up and learn, and they learn from us too, but again, I'll talk about that later, but I agree with you. It is an asset, so, and speaking of which, maybe can pick on Diane Makins and Sue Devine a little bit to follow up on that. Obviously, you guys know that Diane Makins is the superintendent of the Marysville schools, and Sue Devine is the school board president. How has the relationship impacted Marysville schools, would you say?
All right. So, first of all, I wanted to thank Terry and the city for allowing us to be a part of this panel. I think it just kind of speaks to the relationship, the partnership that we have, and of course, that's one of our main focuses in our school district, partnering with people and businesses. So, and as far as the Japanese program, you know, when I think about some of our board meetings, we've had the honor of having our students who did the Japanese exchanges come and present at our meetings. And, you know, if we wouldn't have had this sister city relationship, I know when they've gone over to Japan, they've really welcomed them, and they feel like they already have a connection with Marysville. And, you know, I just think having that Japanese language, like you said, 22 businesses in Marysville and Union County that have that Japanese background, you know, starting the Japanese language program. You know, I know Diane's going to speak a little bit about that, but that was kind of a V8 moment, like, why wouldn't you teach Japanese here in Marysville? But it's just really, it's given our students a lot of relevant experiences, and you know, that's just priceless. I think it's been so heartwarming for us to see what it's offered for our students, and we're just really grateful for the city really creating this relationship with Drury as well. So.
Thank you. Diane, I don't know, I didn't want to pick on you, but if you
Nope,
want to.
I would ditto much of what Sue said. I think really we now have the largest Japanese program in the state of Ohio. So starting just a few years ago, that was not the goal, but we're certainly proud of that. And I really think it's about enrichment. You can look in a book and you can look online and you can learn, but until you're in the culture and really get to experience that, and I think that's just, if you could see the faces of the students when they come to the board and talk about the food they ate or the different ways they had to learn to communicate and problem solve, it's just been a tremendous experience for our students.
Thank you.
Add something else too, because I think it just reminded me. So, you know, not only do they have that exchange, they've also, our Japanese department has created that Japanese evening of culture. And that's really a benefit for our entire community. If you've been to that, it usually has an incredible turnout. And then, you know, our students have also started, or our staff started the National Japanese Honor Society, and our students also participated in JASCO, a Japanese speaking contest, and we have finalists, and it's been a great opportunity.
It is certainly a huge asset, I think, and I got to keep my comments because I got a little cultural comment. And you're going to give me like 2 minutes, right, at the end, right there? Okay, all right. Just gonna check it. Okay, got a question for you, Diane. And by the way, thanks for all your leadership, for all this and everything that's been created here in the last few short years, right? Big changes. Since the STEM school's opening in 2014, has it met your expectations, or has it met your expectations, excuse me, and what do you kind of see, or what are your plans for the future?
Well, I think the way this STEM school was developed, we had a dream, but we have far exceeded what that dream initially was. And we thought that maybe that would happen, right, Kathy? We believed that we would continue to evolve. But probably some markers or metrics of success really, this year is our first graduating class. So 123 students will graduate. And most STEM schools lose about 10 to 15% of their students each year. Kathy and her team, it's less than 1% of students who have left the STEM school, so that's pretty remarkable. There are 23 valedictorians, so students who have over a 4.15 GPA. We have 6 students out of that class that are receiving their associate's degree at the same time, actually before they received their high school diploma. And collectively, they've earned 2,787 college credits, which is an average of 22.5 per student. So pretty exciting. I think the sky's the limit, really, when it comes to this building in particular. I would also say, as you know, one of our newest additions, we hope will kick off next year, is starting an auto tech pathway that'll be available to both schools. So it'll be a junior-senior option, and the idea would be to run that in a business format, similar to a Honda garage, if you will. So we're looking to kick that off and hopefully partner with our new business pathway at Marysville High School to get that underway.
Thank you, and thank you a ton too, because I guess it's one of those things you can never measure, right? Is how much opportunity has been, how many doors have been opened that wouldn't have been opened because this exists, and how many lives will change because this happened and you're doing what you're doing. To me, that's pretty spectacular. So thank you. I guess we get to quit grilling now. So this has not been too excruciating, right? So yeah, you can vacate. Why don't we give a big round of applause for all that? Okay, I'm gonna introduce some of our leaders of the community, our next generation. Would that be the best way to describe the leadership? The best leadership, right? The strongest, right? I guess we'll start with Mr. Levi Powell. Will you guys come up and join me real quick? He's on the engineering pathway. We're going to talk to him in just a second. Katie Weller on the IT pathway. Katie. Keely Makins, medical pathway. So I guess as I get older, you'll be there to fix all the heart attacks, all that kind of stuff. So. And another one that's on the IT pathway is Kaylee Mayhood. Am I saying that right? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm screwing it all up then. That's what you get, when you get a guy like me. I'm just teasing. But and Jesse Broomstraw, right? Am I saying that correct? Okay, engineering pathways. So we'll start with you, Levi. We just want to hear from you tonight. Obviously, Keely, I've talked to you a lot, but one of the things that's really neat, I think, about our community, and there's many of them, is kind of our next generation's leadership and their attitudes. And by the way, we're going to sell you real hard when this meeting's over on not relocating, okay? We want you to stay right here and join the team of the future. So I'll just give you the heads up on that. So anyway, Levi, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're up to and what your goals are?
I'm Levi Powell. I'm in the engineering pathway. I'm a senior at the STEM school here. My junior year, last year, I was able to, thanks to Mrs. Cooper over there, have a job shadow at a place called Area Energy Electric, which is located close to Honda. And I got to go out on one of the actual job sites and see what they do in their daily work and everything. And this year, thanks to Ms. Cooper, I was also able to get an internship with Prater Engineering. I work with their electrical department and see what they do throughout their daily job. So I work with programs called like AutoCAD and Revit, and I also do comm checks for them. Some places I work with are that they do projects for are Miami University and Oxford and Emerson Lab, and just a lot of different places that they partner with.
That's great. Well, congratulations to you and all of your successes so far. Katie? Katie, can you give us a little idea of your life here and maybe even the future if you want to?
Yeah, I'm Katie Weller. I'm in the IT pathway. I started in the IT pathway freshman and sophomore year, and then junior year I went to engineering and medical, and then I came back to IT this year, so I've been all over the place. Last year I had the opportunity to job shadow at Creekview for their school psychology, and then this year I had the opportunity to intern at Memorial. We viewed the different occupations there, and I met Ken McCaddy. He is the patient care experience guy. So I went and job shadowed him last Thursday, and it just kind of like, I left my school track and like went to the medical. So it was a big switch for me, and I had that opportunity thanks to Ms. Cooper for the awesome internship opportunity that we have here.
Thank you, Katie. And guess what? If you're all over the place a little bit, there's people like that. We're in this club together. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. We still have a lot of fun, and there's all the creative ones get all done, right? So, okay, Keely, Keely Mankins, we're gonna hear all the good stuff, all the great stuff.
So I'm Keely Mankins. I'm a senior here at STEM. Next year, I'm headed to the University of Kentucky to study pre-vet. So what I got to do last year is I didn't have an 8th period class, and then I didn't have like a 1st and 2nd block on some days. So I actually went to a vet hospital on Sawmill Road called VCA Sawmill, and I did an internship there with Dr. Beckett, who's the vet for my animals. And there I got to sit in on appointments. I helped run appointments. I sat in and watched his surgeries and other doctors' surgeries. So I basically got to do everything that a vet tech or something like that would do and shadow him all day.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. And by the way, thank you very much for all your leadership stuff. That's not on the list today, but we do a lot of stuff with, or try to do a lot of stuff with the Impact 60 related to getting these dumb drugs and opioids and heroin the heck out of town. And you really, your group and your leadership have been outstanding. We appreciate it a lot. Carly, I'm not going to screw this up second time, so why don't you tell us about how things are going with your IT path?
So my name's Carly, as he said. I'm a senior here at Marysville Early College High School. As he said, I'm in the IT pathway, and I've had the extraordinary opportunity to be involved with their BPA program, which is actually also involved with going into competitions, and we get to interact with a bunch of different schools that way. I was actually involved with their speaking competition, so I would go in and I would do an extemporaneous speech where they gave me 5 minutes to prepare the speech, and then I went to actually their state competition and got 5th place there. I actually got the opportunity to go into an internship, thanks to Miss Cooper over here. She's a fabulous woman, in case you haven't known so far. And I get to work with UCO. With Dave and Jessica over there. This company is the most amazing place. They are actually a not-for-profit business who hire people with developmental disabilities, and I've gotten the opportunity to interact with them, and I've gotten the full umbrella of what they do over there. So I've gotten to work with their business file 13, see how they run that business, but my main focus is social media. So with their social media, I've gotten to do a campaign that we actually started recently to get you introduced to the company and sort of get you talking to how they run things over there and who runs those things, and that it really introduces you to the employees over there. So I've had a lot of fun doing that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jesse?
My name's Jesse, and I'm in the engineering pathway, and I got the awesome opportunity to be the first high school intern at Honda of America. It was a really amazing experience for me. I got to see what engineers do on in their daily jobs, and discovered a bunch of new different types of engineering that I'm now interested in. One of them is equipment engineering. I'm hoping that this relationship with Honda kind of carries over. I can get co-ops and maybe get a job. So, yeah.
I bet you we can help you with that. That wasn't on the list either. Okay. Don't say anything, Jesse. I'll be right up there when we wrap up. So, thank you. We won't make you guys can sit down if you want to. We can hang out if you want to. Can I say a few things before? Just 2 things. I want to make a comment before we close up and thank Terry again. But Really, probably more of a thank you than it is any type of a comment or statement or whatever, but I got up this morning and as I try to do, if some of you don't know, I have 7-year-old triplets, a 4-year-old, and a number of business activities that when you mix all that into a bowl, the to-do list gets pretty crazy, and the time commitments can be somewhat crazy. So I get up pretty early so I can get ahead of it. But I went to the gym this morning, get on the treadmill, and unfortunately, looking at the story of the 17 kids killed in a Florida shooting, and I'm running along, and I started thinking about, and I very much appreciate you recognizing the 2 fallen officers in Westerville, because one of the things that happened the day before yesterday was you hear about the stories of what maybe could have happened differently and how we could have handled things differently and the lives could have been saved. And I don't want to get into that, but here's what I do want to talk about just real quick. Would be I guess the thanks that I have, and I think the thanks that we do share with each other, right? About our commitment to culture, right? So I'm running on this treadmill. I want to share you a quick story, and I promise to shut up because I do talk a lot, and I do talk with my hands, okay? But I'm running on the treadmill, and I'm seeing the story. I can't hear it, but I've already heard enough of it, right? Because I was up earlier, and I got on my news. You get on news feeds, you get it on every darn feed. Your phone blasts away everything. And I'm looking at them, and probably like you, I'm kind of going, what the heck, right? What are we thinking, right? I mean, what's going on here? What's up? I kind of get that. And I'm not trying to depress you, and I'm going to pump you up here in a second, but it kind of gets you there for a second, doesn't it? And so I'm like, I was real fortunate. I started with Honda in 1980, so I'm starting to date myself a little bit. Do you guys even remember that? Like Van Halen was starting out then. Who's that? Right. But anyway, I started with Honda in 1980, and I have had the privilege of working for an organization, Honda, that has had culture at the tip of its priorities and its focus on a daily basis, and how it treats other people, right? So about 6 months ago, and I'm still running a treadmill. I'm not quite at a quarter mile yet, right? And I'm not going to take you to a mile, so relax. It's going to wrap up. But I'm on the treadmill, and I started thinking about my trip 6 months ago to Tokyo. And I'm a kind of a math guy. I always like to do math and business and so on and so forth. So I'm running on the treadmill, I'm watching this story up there, and I remembered an experience that I had there. So they were getting us up early, and they were putting us to bed late, right? That's what you do in Japan. Right? Turkey, you work. You get up, and then you stay up all day, and then they kind of like to party, too. It's kind of fun. But anyway, we were going out for dinner one night, our group that was out there, and we're in downtown Tokyo, and we're walking under these train trestles. Is that what you call a thing that holds the trains up high or whatever? And there's a lot of them. There's a high speed, and then there's a kind of medium speed and a slow speed, and you name the speed. They got trains, and they're going across. And underneath this train trestle, there are restaurants and bars, and it's happening, man. I mean, there are people everywhere. I mean, it's like a sea. Like we were kind of looking down, it kind of went down, went back up, and there's people. It's like crazy, right? The number of people there. So I turned to one of the guys that I was with, and I said, I got a question. If you look at the state of Ohio with 11 million people in it, and you look at this city, which is very congested, lots of stuff, right? And there's 22 million down here. How do they manage this stuff? I don't even know if that's the word I use, right? I mean, how do they manage it? I said, how could you possibly deal with the crime and the this and the that and everything else? How could you do it? I said, what do you mean, Bruce? They don't shoot each other here. I'm like, they're not murdering each other here. I guess maybe every once in a while, but they don't do that here. And I talked to them earlier about the heroin thing. They said they didn't even know what that is. They have no clue. My point is, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm sitting there watching this on the television, and I'm like, there's a culture I was in, right? And there's a culture that I was born in, right? So I don't know about all this stuff, but I do know one thing. In the county of Union County, and you guys know we got 3 dealerships in other counties, it is not Union County. No disrespect, but the culture and the world is different here, right? That's why I get jacked about the uptown, because it's cool. And we can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Am I jacked up about it? Yeah. Am I going to stay jacked up about it? Yes. Right? You just keep swinging. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to Leon's if you guys want a beer later. I'm going to get back on track. I haven't been there in a while. I want to try it, you know? But my point is, sorry I got off track. The thing is with the culture is that is something that we hold as a group of people, right? And you feel this stuff. You know you do, and I feel this stuff. So I say we build on this stuff. I say we become the Tokyo of Ohio, right? Because they don't do heroin in Tokyo, right? They don't even do opioids. Maybe they do in the hospital before somebody dies of cancer like it was designed to originally be done. That might be happening. I didn't audit that yet or research it. But they don't kill each other. And they treat each other with respect. And you know one other thing before I wrap up here? They don't even blow their horns downtown. Now you say, well, Bruce, that seems kind of stupid. You would bring that up. Okay. I saw a guy, they have to have GPS. I don't know how they read the grids, man. They're like, he was going to 243rd Street. I'm like, holy smokes. So my point is there's huge amounts of humans, huge amounts of cars, and it's quiet. And there's not paper on the street. In fact, I went for a run around that moat. That's where they had remember they got the emperors in there. You got a nice pad. But I'm running around the moat, but I walked out of the hotel with my coffee cup. And I realized when I got to the moat, there's no place to put your empty paper cup. They don't want dirt and garbage. My point is this. Somebody somewhere over there with 22 million, somewhere a few years ago said, hey, we're going to do things a certain way and become a certain group of people. And I feel that I'm excited about what you did here tonight because what we're doing is significant. What we're becoming is different. And where we're traveling is different than other people are traveling. And yes, we're not perfect, right? I mean, we're not. I'm certainly not. But the bottom line is we got a good foundation. And it's going to be a good 5 to 10 year run. So I appreciate you guys inviting me here. And I also appreciate you allowing me to come into your community in 2004 because it changed my damn life. It wasn't just the kids, right? It has changed it for the better. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to the students. Really appreciate you guys so much. Now you know why we brought Bruce up here tonight, right? So you kind of get an idea. Things are going very well, and we've got an exceptional staff. We got an exceptional school system. We really appreciate the collaborations that we all continue to carry on, but we got a lot of work to do. And so I want to thank City Council. This is just a chance for us to kind of direct our thoughts on the state of the city, and hopefully we continue to do this kind of presentation in the future. It went a little bit longer than what I had anticipated, and I know Anna's been looking at her watch a little bit, but it's been well worth it. So thank you for coming this evening, and have a great night and have a safe drive home. Thank you.